So we're going to do that.
Okay.
All right, and we're going to get started. It looks like we got a full complement of council. So welcome everyone to another meeting of the Inkster.
Your audio is something going on. There you go.
I'm sorry, if we can all rise and pledge allegiance to the flag.
Okay. Pledge allegiance to the flag.
Flag of the United
States of America.
Wait a minute.
And to
To the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Reverend Williams, can you give us a prayer, please? Councilman Williams, prayer, please. Does anybody else hear me, Reverend Williams?
Hear you.
Can you give me a prayer, please?
That was
we can hear you. I don't think he can hear you.
Okay. All right, then we'll keep it moving there. God knows our hearts and our minds. All right, roll call, please, City Clerk.
Mayor Wimberly,
Here.
Councilwoman Wiley,
Present.
Councilwoman Washington,
Present.
Councilman Shaw,
Here.
Councilwoman Howard, Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
here.
Councilman Williams. Councilman Williams, I saw him there, and Councilman Chisholm. We have 7 present tonight. I think something's going on with his audio, though.
Okay. All right, then motion, Attorney Jones asked us if we go into closed session. Now it's actually on the agenda as item C.
Okay.
Usually on the agenda, we just normally push it down to the end. He asked if we can go into closed session now, so I need a motion to go into closed session. Also, too, so that we're
Sound, man.
Okay, Councilman Williams, you're on the air now. We can hear you.
we hear you now, Councilman Williams.
Huh?
We
Is
hear
he
you
talking
now.
to somebody on the phone? He's talking to somebody on the phone.
What about
Okay, guys, come on. We've been doing this too long now. Councilman Williams.
Somebody did mute him.
All right,
Let me try to unmute him.
all right, can I be heard now?
Yeah, we can hear you now, Councilman Williams.
All right.
All right, perfect. All right, then. So just so we're adhering to the public acts, I'm sorry, I was looking. Hold on one second. So we're applying of the Public Meetings Act, and we have to state what we're going into closed session about. So what I'd like to do is have a motion to go into closed session, and Attorney Jones, please state why we're going into closed session.
We're going into closed session for litigation. And again, we're going to be discussing litigation regarding 3 matters: Bevins, Crowder, and Blackwell.
Okay, so motion to go into closed session.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Shaw,
Yes.
Councilman Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
Yes.
Councilmember Washington,
Yes.
Councilman Watley,
Yes.
and Councilmember Chisholm.
Yes.
Mayor, we have 6 yeas.
All right, motion carried. So we're going into closed session. So we'll be right back out as soon as we possibly can. Troy, can you set that up for us, please?
Other. The top one is other. Oop.
All right. I think we're all set. Good. All right, welcome everybody back to Inkster City Council meeting. We just got out of a closed session. We did add a couple of items to the agenda at the end of the agenda. So as we move into the approval of the agenda, can I have a motion, please?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
With the two additional items from out of closed session. Is there support?
Support.
All right, roll call, please.
I'm trying to unmute everybody.
But I have supported it, so.
Councilmember Chisholm,
Yes.
Councilmember Watley,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
Yes.
Councilmember Washington,
Yes.
Councilmember Williams,
Yeah.
and Councilmember Shaw.
Yes.
We have 6 yeas, Mayor.
All right, approval of the agenda passes. Presentations and discussions. Troy, did we get Michael Wells on the line from the library?
Okay,
Mhm.
good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. I want to thank Mayor and Council for allowing me to do this presentation. I'll be real brief. First of all, I would like to let the public know that the Leanna Hicks Public Library has finally hired the library director. Her name is Betty Adams. She just started last week on the job. She started on Monday, August the 31st. I'm sorry about that. She started on Monday, August 31st. She is an Inkster resident. And with that, which is a good thing, it's the first time we had a director as an Inkster resident. But with that being said, I don't have anything further to add. I'll let Betty Adams, if you could allow.
You broke up, Mr. President. Is she there with you, Mr. Chair?
I'm here.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Adams. Welcome.
Welcome, and thank you all for allowing me a moment of your time this evening. I appreciate the introduction from Mr. Wells. The library board has been very wonderful so far with allowing me to be acclimated with the position and where we are. We are opening, I'm turning on my video now so you can see me. Hi, I'm in the library right now. We have been working diligently this past week to be able to start making it to where services are available. As of today, patrons would be able to call in or email to me if they need printing. We are allowing for up to 10 free prints. So if you do have a necessary print that is required, visit the library website, and when you click on my name, it creates the email to start. And further updates will be on the website as well as on Facebook, as well as posted on the physical door. So even if you don't have access to the internet at all times, all updates are on the door, including that first phase that we're in of reopening. If anyone is interested in volunteering, also more than welcome to email me at badams@inksterlibrary.org. And you're welcome to call the library at any time that we're open. Currently, we're here on average around between 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. So come on up and say hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Is there any, as it relates to the executive order, we know it still is what it is. Is it any news from the state on when you think you'll possibly be open to the public in social distancing matter?
That I've been working with a COVID preparedness committee that is 2 members of the board, 2 members of our friends group, as well as myself, laying out the phasing strategies. We have up to 5 phases already laid out. We're working with the local health department as well as our attorney to verify that we are following all of the proper procedures and that we're staying on top of the executive orders as they come out. She had just released 3 more on Thursday, so we just had a meeting today to discuss some of those items. As of right now, we don't have a set date. Most libraries are not fully open to the public at this point. However, parking lot pickup is something that we're going to start hopefully by the start of October. And September 28th, I am planning to host an event outside. So more details about that will be released next week through Facebook as well as posted on the door. But from right now, all of the events and any patron interactions will have to be scheduled and registered in advance so we can abide by the regulations that we have to follow.
Good then. And then also too, you mentioned their website. Can we make sure, and Troy is of course our administrator here on the line. We just want to make sure that the website is linked to the city's website as well.
Last time I checked, it was inkster.lib.mi.us is the website.
All right. Any questions from this body or comments?
No, I'd just like to, Mr. Mayor, welcome her once again.
Yes.
Wish her all the success in being the new library director. Welcome, Inkster.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great. Pleasure being here.
And thank you so much for taking out the time to spend with us tonight. If you need anything from us, please do not hesitate to ask.
Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, wonderful. Moving right along. Thank you. Presentation of city water rates and water bill, Darren Carrington, Treasurer. Mr. Carrington, you're all set. Steve, is he on mute, maybe?
Let me look and see. Yeah, he was. Okay, he should be good now. Troy took care of it. Thank you. I was trying to get everyone's attention there. And Troy, I sent you a presentation. Did you get that, Troy, to pull up?
I haven't seen it, but if you give me a second, I can.
Okay. Well, while he's doing that, and I know we got a pretty packed agenda this evening, so I don't want to take up a ton of time. This is kind of a follow-up to some of the conversations that we've had in recent weeks in regards to a couple things. The water rates. I've gotten a number of emails and phone calls, not only from residents, but from council members on behalf of a number of residents. And I think we have some reoccurring questions and concerns and so forth. And wanted just to take a few minutes tonight to let you know that, the administration is working diligently to address these and kind of give you, some information where these things stand. While Troy is pulling up the presentation, I really want to cover a few things. One is trying to address some of the common questions we get about the water rates and sewer rates and how we define those, how we come up with those. Also wanted to give folks some insight as to, I know a number of people get estimated bills, and to try and clear that issue up, along with let people know what's going on with the water meters and the billing and so forth. So those are, again, we want to kind of cover some of those things this evening, and really the expectation is going forward, we're going to really redouble our efforts to try and do a better job of getting information out there, informing the customers and the citizens, residents, and providing them with that information, providing some clarity, and giving them some tools that we hope can help them not only better understand their bills, but better manage those bills. So one of the things is when we just look at the water rates, as everyone knows, the rates for fiscal year 2021 is $16.75 per unit. And we break that down between two components, water, which is $4.85 per unit, and sewer, which is $11.90 per unit. And this is one big question that we always get as it relates to the water rates and sewer rates. We charge on a per unit basis, and then we break it down just from a cost allocation standpoint. And that's just an estimate with the $16.75, how we break it down. Now, the key thing to keep in mind is that sewer usage is based on water usage from a per unit standpoint, meaning we don't meter separately for sewage. We just, and excuse me, Troy wants me to resend the presentation. Okay, so we don't meter separately for sewage charges. We have one meter reading that measures the amount of water that's being used. We charge off of that, but we bill for the one unit, for the one total amount that's metered. And then we break that down between water and sewer based on our cost estimates. And so again, that sewer usage is always going to tie to the water usage, because it's at the end of the day, that is just a cost estimate. The thing that we're basing it off on is the meter reading, which measures the amount of water that's actually being used. So those two things are always going to line up. Sewer and water units are going to line up based on the usage of the water. On that same amount, we don't make any distinction between how water is used, whether it's drinking. And Troy, you can go ahead and turn to this. So this here is just what I talked about wanting to cover. So Troy, let's flip to the next one. And so this is where we're discussing the water rates and the breakdown between sewage and water. And I'll provide this to everyone as well. And so as I was saying, we don't really make any distinction between how the water is used, whether it's drinking, laundry, lawn, et cetera, is going to be billed on the same rate. And then when we talk about the total rate that a customer is going to get, that rate is multiplied. We take the $16.75 and we're going to multiply that times the number of units to determine the cost. So if a customer uses one unit, they're going to get a bill for $16.75. As I mentioned earlier, we break that down on a cost estimate basis between water and sewer at that $4.85 and $11.90. But the bill is generated based on the meter reading times the rate, the meter reading, which gives us the number of units, and the rate, which is $16.75 per unit. Troy, we can go to the next one. Continuing on the water rates, the usage is based strictly on the meter readings. The meters track water usage on a per unit basis. And when we talk about one unit is going to be 748 gallons of water. And so our water rates, again, take into consideration two things. It's going to be the cost of water that we purchase from the Great Lakes Water Authority. And then the sewer rates is going to reflect the cost of all our operations, our maintenance, all the expenses, capital improvements, and so forth. And the thing to keep in mind, and this is required by law, we don't generate any profit from these. All of our rates are based on what we estimate is needed in order to maintain and run the system. And as everyone knows, in addition to our operational expenses, we have a lot of capital improvement projects that are needed. And that's another big cost item that we have that goes into the rates that are generated. You can go ahead and turn, Troy. So when it comes to water meters, this is obviously a big factor in our overall water process. We began installing the new meters, the meters that are currently in our customers' residences and businesses back in 2011. These are wireless or radio remote meters. And the way that works, they send a meter reading back electronically to our billing system. So we don't have to do any site visits in order to get the meter reading. That meter reading is sent back electronically. Now, in a number of cases, we don't get a meter reading in any given month, and we can't get an actual billing. That can be the meter may have frozen up. It may need to be rebooted. We may have a bad MTU. There may be dead batteries. It can be any number of reasons why in any particular month or months we're not getting a reading from a particular meter. So when we talk about billing, we have two types of bills. One is an actual bill. That's going to be based when we have an actual reading, so we know exactly how much the meter is saying. And based on the prior month, we can calculate what the usage was for that month. And if we don't have that, we generate what's called an estimated bill. And that's a flat estimate where the city uses a flat estimate when we don't have our meter reading so that the customer does receive a bill. And there are reasons for that. Primarily in the past when we didn't get a reading and we gave a customer a zero bill. And Troy, you can go ahead to the next one. When we did not get a reading, the customer would get we would show zero usage. So the customer, if that went on for several months, let's say they were using 3 units a month, 4 units a month, they went 6, 7 months with no reading. Once we got the reading, they would get socked with a pretty large bill. So in order to avoid that situation, the city has been providing for several years an estimated billing. We use a flat 5 units as our estimated bills. That's just what's used across the board for any residential customer whenever we don't get a actual reading and we want to or see a need to use an estimated billing. That's where the 5 units will come into play. Okay, Troy, you can go to the next one. Wanted to provide some kind of information and tips just to give a sense of how much usage is potentially done by everyday activities. A faucet, if you're at the sink and running a faucet per minute, that can generate anywhere from 2 to 4 gallons. As I mentioned, 748 gallons are what make up a unit of water. An average shower, one shower can use up to 16 gallons of water. One flushing of a toilet can be anywhere from 3 to 7 gallons. And we know water leaks. That's a lot of times when customers see a spike in their bill or an increase in their billing. Oftentimes that can be water leaks that the customer may or may not be aware of. The biggest culprit with that will be leaking toilets. And one leaking toilet, if it's going at a rate of 1 gallon per 5 minutes, it can cause a jump of 10 units a month, which based on the current rates, that can be $167 in billing for the customer. So that's just some different impacts that everyday usage can have. And again, the leaking toilets, water leaks are a big source of problems for many of our customers and residents. Troy, you can go to the next one. So just to wrap up, as I said, we're the administration is working to try and address this. The mayor's working with public services, DPS, working with Treasury and the billing to try and really confront these problems. One thing that we're doing, we're looking and always monitoring our staffing levels. We've tried to increase the number or have increased staffing levels. So we increased the number of home visits that we're able to do. And and that gives us an opportunity to repair and replace meters or some components that are in the home of customers. We're also taking a look at possibly adjusting the 5 units that is currently being used for estimated bills, looking at if we need to lower that number whenever we get a zero, we don't get a reading and we have to do an estimated bill. Right now it's at 5 units. We're looking at possibly lowering that. And we want to increase the amount of communication. We want to make sure we're informing and updating our customers as best as possible. And then we want to continue to provide customers with cost-saving tips that can help them manage their bills as best as possible. So that's all I had, and wanted to open it up for any questions or comments.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, please.
Okay, I have a question. Out of the bills, the water bills that goes out that have actual or estimate, are we working really hard on trying to catch those bills that are going out estimate? So residents wouldn't. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So yeah, we are trying to, you know, as best as possible, get our arms around those estimated bills. You know, it's kind of working with multiple departments. We got to get the Treasury, our billing, and our billing supervisors, June, and also to a lesser extent, our financial analyst, Craig, who are, you know, going in, trying to monitor that, looking at that on a monthly basis, working with Jerome's team over at DPS, and, you know, getting out there right now. You know, with COVID, we were limited for quite some time in being able to make site visits to customers' homes. But that's one of the things we are trying to prioritize, is identifying those accounts that don't get an actual read, where we're giving an estimated bill, and trying to figure out why that is, getting out there and making that, making the necessary repairs or replacements.
Okay. I know I had a resident called me out, and my father-in-law had called and asked about the bill as well. Mm-hmm. But I had to really show him where the A and the E would go. So can we take a picture like at the top front of a bill without the address or whatever, and maybe place it in City Hall to show people, you know, if you're getting this, you need to contact us immediately.
Yeah, we can certainly do that. And one of the things that the mayor has encouraged us is to utilize the cable access channel, and to, you know, that's one of the things that we want to do is you know, start communication, start getting better information, getting more information out there. So we can certainly do that to let people know how to read their bills, and so when they see that E on there as opposed to an A, that they're aware of that and how they can reach us and get that issue addressed.
Or if we can, Darren, maybe we can change that to a different color that stand out.
Yeah, I'm not sure about, but I certainly can check on that.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
All right, ma'am. Anyone else?
Mr. Chair?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Yes. I'm inquiring if this information or this presentation you just did will be on the website.
We can make it, you know, as you know, the elected officials see fit. I don't want to speak on the mayor's behalf, but, you know, we've got this information. We also have some other tips, but I certainly know, you know, based on the direction that the mayor has given us, that we want to start providing more information, and we're prepared to do that.
Okay, well, the website also, could you email us a copy of this? So when people
I will do that this evening.
We can refer to this item?
Yes, I will
also,
get that.
ICANN had tips that we put out once before on how to conserve water, and I can email those to you. You know, like sometimes people run water until it gets hot. Well, right. If you're doing that, you can use that to water plants and et cetera and things of that nature. So that's just some of the tips. Also, when there was a leak in the house, there used to be this red dot that flashed on the meter to let you know something was running. Is that still the case with these new meters you've been putting in?
Not that I'm aware. I don't know if Jerome is able, Councilman Chisholm.
I'm gonna look for his name, but I know for a fact on those new meters, just because I witnessed it myself.
I'm here. Can you
Okay,
repeat
great.
the question? Can you repeat the question, Councilwoman Watley?
Yes, sir, I certainly can. On the meters, there used to be the little red dot that flashed to let you know that something in your house, it didn't identify where, but something was running through that meter creating, water. So is that still the case with the new meters that are being installed?
I think you're
Hello?
to the flow detection. I don't know if hold on. Somebody muted him.
It probably gets all that background noise.
I unmuted myself. But there's no moving parts on the meters. It's just, hold on one second. Ashley Jerome, please stop. Please, thank you.
We know you're over there watching the
I'm
basketball
talking,
game.
and they
We know
can
you're
hear
over there
y'all.
They can hear you.
Oh, they're having a college debate. Anyway, so there are no moving parts on a meter. It's just a solid base meter with no parts inside. So only way we get notification there's something wrong, we get what is called a tamper alert that comes into City Hall. And then June, the billing supervisor will notify us, and then I send guys out to investigate that. That's the only way we know if somebody's messed with a meter or something's going on with the system. It's not functioning properly.
So do you remember when we were told about that dot or whatever?
No, I
Okay.
don't,
right.
and the mayor's on here too, because he was on council when we voted to accept this meeting, and I don't recollect that conversation. Do you, Mr. Mayor?
Okay.
Well, I didn't want the meters in the first place, so I probably didn't even
We know that. We know that.
Yeah, I didn't vote for that. But as it relates to the red dot, I do understand what she's saying, though.
Right.
Should be some type of
Because
indication
we
from
were told that, yes. But I can find the paper later where it said it, because all of that, because it was during that lawsuit and everything, I kept a lot of those papers, so I'll look that up. But the third thing is it possible, like a lot of people don't know how to read their meters, they're getting these estimated bills and things of that nature. Can they take a picture of the meter and bring it to the water department? So wherever you assess them at the last time, they can show you where they are now and that bill be adjusted?
I would encourage that. I like that.
Because everybody has a phone and every phone has a camera, and you just flash that and bring it to, would that create an additional problem for the water department?
No, I think that's a great idea. This is other layers, so I totally agree with that. Hold on one second. Councilman Chisholm, I wanted to recognize him first. He had his hand raised. Councilman Chisholm?
Councilwoman Watley's finished.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. That was my last thing.
So a couple of things. I was appreciative of the presentation. I was going to ask about if you could send that out to us. And I was going to ask on that presentation, piggybacking on what Mayor Pro Tem Howard said, putting a picture of a water bill, the legend up on the website, if that could just be added to the presentation itself. I was going to ask if you could send it to us so we could send it to constituents. I've had lengthy conversations with a couple constituents, and I tried to explain it to them because in my own personal situation, my water bill was in the hundreds, and because my washing machine failed, then it came with smart technology. I replaced it and it started dropping. And I said, wait a minute, I'm using tons of water because most of us, we just fill the washing machine all the way to the tip top and you don't need all that water. Right. And then the second thing was I had no idea my basement toilet was flushing times a day on its own until I spent an entire day down there and nobody was home and I kept hearing it flush. And I was like, either we got ghosts or something's going on. And it just happened. One, it's an older traditional toilet, so it uses a lot of water every flush, and the flange was starting to deteriorate. But most people, if they not handy like that and they're not paying attention to those types of things, they don't know.
Right.
So the third thing, what Councilwoman Watley was deferring to or alluding to was a flow detection sensor. The water meter that's here at my house, I don't know about everybody else's, it's digital. It does have that. The way that I found out is I went in the laundry room, turned the water on, I walked back over to the meter. It's basically like the color of an Etch-a-Sketch, if you will. That's the color that the water meter digital thing is in. There's no backlight, but the flow detector is a little bitty emblem on the right-hand side. It blinks when the water is flowing. It doesn't blink no faster or no slower on the amount of water, but as long as water is flowing through the system from the street into the house, it will flow to let you know that water is going through it.
Okay.
And then also, the only thing I have with the picture or issue, I guess you could say I would have with the picture of the water meters is we would need a process, if you will, because what end up happening is you might have 10 people on my street to come in with the same exact or close numbers, and they all took a picture of my water meter. So what I would suggest, I know this is new and this is just something we talking about tonight. If they wrote their address down and had it next to it and included that in the picture as well, or if we further talked about that when trying to correct or solidify or bring some type of resolution forth when they're coming to City Hall. That way, it brings an easiness to the water department, and it eliminates any type of quarrels or misunderstandings when people come in and say, well, this is my water meter. And you're like, this look identical to the last 10 people that were here.
Mm-hmm. Great point.
And that's all I have.
Okay.
I just
Any
want to
question, comments, Councilman Williams?
Yeah, I just like to make a comment, Mr. Mayor, because like you said, if we took a picture of it, okay, I took a picture of my meters and various things and came up there, and I still kept getting estimated bills. And when I went back and seen the lady at the counter about, here it is, here. See, number one, when you take a picture of the meter, it's got the meter identification number on it, okay, and it's got how much you use and everything else. She said she would still have to send somebody out, okay? Okay, now that meter number is there, okay, along with the reading, okay, and waste a person's time to come all the way out to the house, okay, and get the same number and bring it back. I think is a waste of time, okay. So that's why we probably falling a lot behind, okay. But like I'm saying is, because if you take a picture of the meter, the identification number is right up on the top of that meter, and it's registered right on your bill. Okay, so I mean, they just came out and I think they replaced. I think they say they have antenna problems.
Yeah.
Okay, so they changed the antenna, so I'm gonna see how it is now. But over the last 3 months, I've been getting $100, $200, $300, $400 bills, and I haven't even used 2 units of water in that place. Okay. But then yet still, I'm just hoping they corrected at the next bill, because if they still got that, you know, charging you late fees and stuff like that, I'll be up at City Hall. So
Okay, well, hopefully we got it.
Attention is, you know, you talking about take a picture of it. No, they don't. They didn't buy that when I took it up.
Well, just to, you know, it has not been this, the department's policy to do that. So, if anyone was presenting that, we had not authorized any of the folks up front to do that. So that's not on them. They're just following city policy. And I think, you know, if we want to do that, it sounds like there is some interest. We would have to get a system and a process in place in order to do that. But you know, up until now, nobody has authorized any of our employees to do that, and they would not be in a position to take that information.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Councilman Shaw.
I just wanted to see when is an estimated time on you reviewing the 5 units that's already estimated on those bills. What is the time frame of you doing so with dropping those 5 units if you get 0 units read?
Yeah, so we did meet, I believe it was about a week and a half ago or so. We're having regular meetings. We'll be meeting again in a couple of weeks. From that last meeting, the mayor indicated he did want us to take a look at that. So we'll be getting something scheduled probably for next week, or the following week. And I expect, we can get that done within the next 30 days.
Okay, because we have a lot of seniors in the city, and they're not going to. Some of them aren't savvy like that. Some of them are not, to take pictures and what have you.
Sure.
But they're still being charged that estimated 5 units.
That's right.
Certainly. Yeah.
We on top of it, Councilman Shaw, so by next meeting, we should have an answer for you.
Okay, thank you, sir. That's all I have.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? All right, moving right along. Public hearing, consent agenda.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Your support?
Support.
All right, it's been moved and supported. Roll call, please. Is our illustrious clerk back yet?
Yes.
All right.
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
Yes.
Councilmember Washington,
Yes.
Councilmember Shaw,
Yes.
Councilmember Chisholm,
Yes.
and Councilmember Wiley.
Yes.
We have 6 yeas, Mayor.
All right, moving right along. Boards and commissions.
Yes, I do have an appointment, Mr. Chair. Felicia, did you get the name of the young lady that I sent you? I don't have it right in front of me.
Yes, it is Stephanie Hornsby.
And
I would
what's
like
the
to
commission?
appoint her to the. I would like to appoint her to the beautification committee.
Is there support?
Support.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Wiley,
Yes.
Councilmember Washington,
Yes.
Councilmember Chisholm,
Yes.
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
Yes.
and Councilmember Shaw.
Yes.
We have 6 yeas, Mayor.
All right. He's like, it's my appointment for sure, yes. Any others, Councilman Shaw?
No, that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
All right, any others? Okay.
Now, I do have a question. Now, is there still an opening on the planning commission?
That's what I was going to have.
I believe it is an opening still on the planning commission. Yes.
Okay, now, how many council members can serve on the planning commission?
That's a good question. Yeah, I think it's, I don't think it could be 3 of us, so that answer your question.
Yeah, that answers my question right there.
Now you got the president, the chair is Stephen Chisholm, and then of course myself.
Yeah, because I wanted to get on there. If we're not going to get any people to get on there.
No, it's just my appointment. It's just my appointment.
But that answered the question.
Yeah, it's just my appointment, Councilman Shaw.
Okay.
And we do have people that want to serve on that. I just want to make sure we had the right people and the right mixture. So I know there's something that we need to do. So I'll be talking with the chair about it so we can get another appointment in there soon.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, ma'am.
When we were out the last week or 2 weeks ago, when we were out going through the city for the census.
Yes, ma'am.
I do recall that Rebecca Daniels said that she was interested in serving on the planning commission, but I'm not sure if she talked to you about that.
She did submit a resume to the city clerk, I believe.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, that's all I have.
Okay. And I'll be talking to the chair about it just because we did have a couple of applicants come in. We want to make sure that we had the right mix of people on the boards with the proper talent so we can truly move things forward, not be stagnant. So at any rate, Darren, you want to talk about the appointment that we need for tonight for the TIFA?
Yes. So, and this is on the agenda for later. Before council tonight is a resolution authorizing a refunding for some TIFA bonds that are currently outstanding. We made a presentation back in the spring, I think it was May, and we included in the budget some savings that we expect to get. We have some bonds that are outstanding that were issued by TIFA. We want to pay those bonds off and reissue some bonds, pay off the bonds that are currently outstanding, and get it at a lower interest rate. We need to have some resolutions authorized, not only the one by council that's before you tonight, but also we need to get an authorizing resolution by the TIFA board. And I have had a chance to speak by phone with the city attorney, but we currently don't have, I think we only have 5 appointments to the board. The resolution allows for up to 13, I believe for between 7 and 13. And we would like to get that board a couple more appointments so we can have them hold a meeting. They're scheduled to meet, even though I don't believe they've been meeting, the second Thursday of every month, which would be this coming Thursday, in order to allow us to make sure we have a legal quorum and present to them those authorizing resolutions for this bond transaction.
Okay, so city clerk, have you had a chance to look at the commission and see?
Yes, Mayor. And it looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. There's a vacancy, and then one person was their tenure when they were sitting on city council. So there needs to be some other appointments. It looks like it's a 13-member board.
All right, and we need to have 2 tonight. Is that what I heard?
Yes, definitely, yes.
Okay, so one of those members, the TIFA is in District 5, correct?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
Okay, so you're gonna take that spot?
Okay.
All right, can we, well, I guess it is my appointment, right, Darren?
Yeah.
Oh, city clerk, okay, either one of y'all, okay. All right, then, so I make a motion. Do I make a motion? So what am I doing?
Someone can make a motion, please. Not the
Okay.
mayor, but someone else can make the motion.
Make a recommendation for Mayor Pro Tem.
Also move support.
I make a motion that we appoint Mayor Pro Tem Kim Howard to the TIFA board.
So move.
All right, roll call, please.
Councilmember Shaw,
Yes.
Councilmember Washington,
Yes.
Councilmember Chisholm,
Yes.
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
Yes.
and Councilmember Wiley.
Yes.
We have 6 yeas.
All right, can we have 2 members of council on that board?
Mayor, I don't know the answer to that. That might be a city attorney question.
David, looking at it earlier, David, you still there? You see him there, Councilman Chisholm? I know he had to.
Yeah, he's still here.
Attorney Jones, can you answer that question for us? I'm trying to think, I believe when I was on, yeah, I think, you know what? I think you can. I know the mayor was on TIFA at one point in time. Am I on part of that 5?
No, you're not up here.
Mm-mm.
You need to be. You're not up there though.
Okay, then, well, yeah, I guess I'm the tenured person, I guess.
Okay.
I requested to unmute the attorney, the city attorney, but just in case, since if he's not necessarily available right now, I did unmute Neil if you want him to comment on it at all.
Okay, I know that David was on it earlier because he was talking to Treasurer Carrington. He called me talking about it. I don't know the composition, but if I can recall, I know that during my tenure, I served on the TIFA in District 5, and then the mayor was on there as well.
So the question is specific about the composition of who can be on the TIFA board?
Yes.
All right. I don't know the answer to that, but I can certainly follow up, maybe even during the remainder of this meeting.
Okay, so would it be premature to ask for appointment? I mean, the tenure position, I'm assuming it's the mayor, right?
Yeah, Mayor, I know there was some discussion about that a few months ago, if I recall correctly. I think you were, I believe it was Sharday that was kind of tracking that. But because my understanding is that Connie Mitchell was listed as tenure, and there was some question as to whether or not she had just gotten appointed or if she was serving in a tenure position. But I mean, I think we can, and Neil, I mean, can we just go ahead and make another appointment, and then if there's any concerns with the city attorney about the composition, we can address that if need be?
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that.
Okay, so I think, we go ahead and make the second appointment, and then there's, if that presents a problem, which I'm not aware of it, but if it does, we can address that accordingly.
Okay, so does anybody want to make a motion for me to be on something else? Another?
Something else, you want to be on the TIFA board?
TIFA.
All right, I move.
For me to be on the TIFA board.
Support.
I do, really briefly, I do believe the minimum number on the board is 7 and the maximum number on the TIFA board is 13.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're trying to get to the minimum at least so we can have a meeting, and then therefore you can have a quorum. If you just have 4 people there, you'll still have a quorum, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right, then. So a motion's been made. Any support?
Support.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
Yes.
Councilmember Shaw,
Yes.
Councilmember Washington,
Yes.
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Councilmember Wiley,
Yes.
and Councilmember Chisholm.
Yes.
We have 6 yeas, Mayor.
All right, then. And just so I'm on the right path, City Clerk, as it relates to, it was another board that we needed to make an appointment along with the mayor. And I don't know if it was Conference of Western Wayne or SimCog. Which one was it? Do you remember?
I think, was it Nankin Transit or something?
Nankin Transit. There you go. Denise.
I think Denise will say yes.
Yeah. Nankin Transit. Anyone on this board would like to volunteer for Nankin Transit? No volunteers?
Those meetings are held, Mr. Chair, during the day, right?
I'm pretty sure that they are.
They are 5:45 p.m. on the 3rd Thursday of each month.
Okay. 5:45.
Wouldn't be able to make that. Okay, thank you.
Just for the record, I did reply to that email that day, just to state to everybody why I wouldn't be able to do that. So it's a no for me.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I won't be off for working time.
I got you. I know we all work during that time.
Just for clarity, it has to be somebody from council, right?
Yes. Yeah, because she's the community appointee, so yes.
Okay. So appoint me to it. So, right, appoint me to it. And then we'll go from there. So
Okay.
can I get a motion?
I make a motion that we appoint Mayor Wembley to the Nankin Trans.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Washington,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
Yes.
Councilmember Chisholm,
Yes.
Councilmember Watley,
Yes.
Councilmember Shaw,
Yes.
and Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
We have 6 yeas, Mayor.
All right, then, moving right along. Anything else?
Mr. Mayor, very, very briefly, if I can address the TIFA board issue one more time.
Yes.
It's my understanding that you have an ex officio spot, and that you can designate up to any one person any person you want in that spot. And I believe that no more than one council member can be on the TIFA board.
Okay.
Okay. And maybe that, I don't know, maybe that's how former Councilwoman Mitchell was.
Mitchell's.
That was her tenure. That it was ex officio appointment of the mayor.
Mhm.
But if that's the case, Neil, so then the mayor doesn't need any council action to, would he need any council action to appoint someone to that ex officio spot in his place?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Okay, well, Mayor, I think we can just follow up if you have, because I don't think you and Councilwoman Howard, Mayor Pro Tem Howard, could both serve on there, correct? Correct? Neil?
I'm checking on that. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna try to get David.
Okay. All right.
But I think based on what Neil is saying, Mayor, we can follow up after the council meeting tomorrow to, get an ex officio appointment to serve in your.
Be a member of the staff or something like that. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I believe the council would still have to approve the mayor's ex officio appointment.
Okay.
Right.
All right then. So until then, though, I'm in that spot until then. Is that what I'm hearing? So we can take care of business on Thursday?
No, two people can't be on there, right?
Neil said no, we can't have two council people, and I believe we're considering the mayor also to be a member of council. Is that
correct? Correct.
So what's the ex officio thing? What is that? I mean, what is that even about? So I'm not a member of it.
Right, but I believe you can appoint the member, is my understanding.
Yeah. Okay. So we still need another member. Geez.
Wow. So I'm looking at who's on the call here.
Exactly. You know what, Felicia? Did Yolanda Lockett submit her resume?
Mayor, I would have to check to see if she
She
did.
actually lives in the,
Familiar though.
and I know she lives in the TIF.
Yeah, I need to check. I would need to check that.
Yeah, she live in the TIFA, and she has some background in community service. I know she works right now for President Council of the City of Detroit, doing some stuff for her, but I'm pretty sure she would serve if she had the time. So I know she had asked me about serving. So you know what? Let's do that. If I noticed she did tell me that she submitted her resume. I just want to make sure that we all received it.
And if not, she can submit it.
All right then. Yeah, let's do that because I know that she won't be mad at me.
Okay, I so move to support, appoint her to the TIFA board.
That's Yolanda Lockett.
Okay,
Yolanda Lockett.
got
Is
it.
it support?
Support.
Roll call, please.
Yes, Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Councilmember Shaw,
Yes.
Councilmember Watley,
I'm sorry. What are we yesing and knowing to?
you're making an appointment to a Miss Yolanda Lockett to the TIFA board.
Okay, fine.
Okay, and Councilmember Chisholm?
Was
Yes.
that a yes?
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. Was that a yes from Councilwoman? Okay, yes. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard
Yes.
and Councilmember Washington.
Yes.
Mayor, we have 6 yays.
All right, then. Thank you all. Motion carried. So we're all set on everything that we need to do, Darren?
Yes. Thanks. Thank you.
Okay. All right, perfect. Moving right along.
And Mr. Mayor, you sit
Please.
on the TIFA board or you appoint someone in your place. So if you don't appoint someone in your place, then you're considered on the board.
Oh, okay. So we just got another member then. Okay. This is awesome. All right. So we just got another member regardless, and I'm still on the board. All right. We're keeping it moving. All right, good. All right. Let's move it right along. Thank you, Neil. All right. Previous business ordinance, first reading, second reading. City Clerk, do you need to read this, and then we want to look at tabling this issue for
Yes.
at least 3 to 4 council meetings, so we can go
Okay.
before planning.
All
Okay, go
right. This is a second reading and approval to an amendment to the Inkster Code of Ordinance, Section 124, marijuana business license.
Mr.
Can I have
Chair,
yes, sir.
I make a motion that we table.
Yes,
Support.
Table until when?
I'm looking at October 12th because by then, because the planning commission, I'm sorry, I keep saying, yeah, well, it is the planning commission. The zoning will be before the planning commission, the first meeting in October. So then it'll come back to us after that.
Okay.
Because then zoning and all of it will be right together. That way we'll be all the way in compliance either way.
Okay.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Williams?
Yes.
Councilmember Watley?
Yes.
Councilmember Shaw?
Yes.
Councilmember Chisholm?
Yes.
Councilmember Washington?
Yes.
And Mayor Pro Tem Howard?
Yes.
Mayor, we have 6 yeas.
All right, thank you. Motion carries. New business, please.
New business, item A is consideration and approval to adopt a COVID-19 workplace safety policy and emergency preparedness plan.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Support.
Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor,
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
I have a couple questions. I've gone through this and I didn't actually see a policy, you know, a step-by-step. There was a lot of information, but no step-by-step policy for different scenarios.
Like what?
Also, I'm sorry.
For example, just so we're on the same page.
Yeah, for example, like if you say this group of people will be coming in, this is what you must do every day when you come in. You know, you have your temperature check. I'm just talking about a systematic way of doing it, you know, of coming back to work. You know, like the number of people allowed or things of that nature. So I don't know how we go about doing that. The second thing is, in this policy, the one thing I noticed when all of this started happening is that we were inundated with information and it was coming from 47 different directions. Is there some way we can put in this plan that we have a conduit, like a person who that information is sent to and they disseminate it? So we're not getting the same thing over and over again from a lot of different people.
Yes, ma'am. So the first, to your first question, we already do have a policy on how we're operating as it relates to getting your temperature check coming into City Hall. We have a form for that too. So it should be included in that. So I apologize for the omission for this.
It's in there. It's in there.
Oh, it is in?
Yeah.
Where is it?
The form is in there.
Oh, the form is in there? Okay, good. So we just need to spell it out what this form does then. Is that the case?
Excuse me, the form, yeah,
Yeah,
I saw the
yeah.
form,
Do see
but
the
I'm
form.
talking about, you know, step one, you know, who enters the building, how you enter it, step two,
Gotcha.
step three, step four.
Yep.
So it's delineated for people. So nobody makes any mistakes and say, you know, I skipped from 1 to 4 and now I'm all.
Oh, yeah. I do understand that. So we're definitely going to take care of that for you. So we'll make sure that we bring that back before council. And then the other part to that, you had another comment as it related to, what was the other comment? I'm sorry.
It was about the information flow.
Yeah.
When this first started, we got information from everybody and it was the same information over and over again. But when you spend time opening up each one of your emails and find out it's the one you just read prior to that. So I'm just thinking there ought to be a central point where that goes and then it comes out to us.
I get you. So it'll be to our newly appointed director of HR, Deja Rose.
Oh, we have a new one?
Well, Deja's been serving as the interim director.
Yeah, interim, but we didn't know she had been hired.
Yeah, well, we went through a hiring process where she was interviewed by Councilman Chisholm, myself, Yvette Brock, Darren Carrington, Rhonda Glover, and our insurance person, Mrs. Greenhill. And she was out of the 5, we had like 5 candidates, guys. It was about
Yes.
5 candidates. She was the successful candidate. So we were making her a job offer now. So I just want to put that out there. She hasn't accepted yet, but I'm pretty sure that she'll accept. We're hoping so anyway. So it'll go through her. All the information will go through her and then through me, of course, to you.
And if it's necessary, earlier when this started, I sort of did a policy and I shifted to her, reference COVID. And if she just needs something, not to take my policy, but this is the type of stuff I was talking about, A, B, C, and D.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'll follow up with her and make sure it's done. Any other questions or comments related to the document? The motion? I'm sorry. All right, roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
Yes.
Councilmember Washington,
Yes.
Councilmember Chisholm,
Yes.
Councilmember Williams,
Yeah.
Councilmember Shaw,
Yes.
and Councilmember Wiley.
Yes.
We have 6 yeas, Mayor.
All right, motion carries. Item B, please.
Item B is consideration and approval authorizing administration to approve the contract LM Clark Inc. for rehabilitation of the Andover pump station in these amounts of $280,770 plus a 15% contingency of $42,115.50 for a total of $322,885.50 for rehabilitation. Funds from account number 592-564-970-000 capital outlay.
So move, Mr. Mayor.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Discussion?
I would just like to say, I hope this resolves all the problems we got in District 1 over in the Andover area. So I'm praying and hoping that this one resolves some of the problems we got over there.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, but I think we've done our due diligence and for sure it's definitely going to help.
Yeah.
All right, hearing no other comments or questions, roll call, please.
Councilmember Washington. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, sir.
I'm sorry.
I just real quickly, I'm sorry, I was on mute. Did this have to go out to bid or anything like that?
Yeah.
We did already. Yeah. It went out for bid.
Mr. Carrington or Mr. Bivens, one of you guys answer the question, please. He asked if it had to go out to bid.
I provided a letter in the council request that I did quotes on this, given the nature of Andover Pump Station, the emergency in which we are operating under Eagle's perception to bring that up to code and bring it up to satisfactory working conditions. So instead of going out for bids, I did quotes on the emergency basis. And if you see the letter attached in the council request, it shows where I received 2 quotes and 1 bidder did not respond. So I did quotes instead of doing the long process of a bid, because I've had a rental pump over there probably since the beginning of May. So we need to get that pump station back up and running. And like Councilman Williams alluded to, this will hopefully correct some of the problems over there, the type of pump that we're ordering, because we have a lot of rags and trash over there coming in that area. And we don't know exactly where, because we share that with Westland, but they have a restricted, so they only allowed to submit so many flows to us. But we're ordered the type of pumps that will be able to chop that rags and trash up better and keep that flow constantly, so we don't have it backing up into people's basement. So that's why I didn't go through the traditional bidding process. I waited out for quotes.
Okay.
All right. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Washington,
Yes.
Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
Yes.
Councilmember Chisholm,
Yes.
Councilmember Wiley,
Yes.
Councilmember Shaw,
Yes.
and Councilmember Williams.
Yeah.
Mayor, we have 6 yeas.
All right then. Moving right along. Thank you so much. Motion carries. Item C, please.
Consideration and approval of a resolution authorizing the Tax Increment Finance Authority to issue refunding bonds.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Mr. Carrington, can you give us a little background on this before I ask for any comments or questions from the body?
Sure. So this is it's essentially the resolution that I mentioned earlier. The bonds were issued by TIFA. We're looking to refund those bonds. We got a more favorable interest rate that we think we can achieve, and so by issuing some new bonds, paying off the old ones, we're going to save on interest. And because of the financial situation with the TIFA, the bonds currently are being paid by the general fund. So this savings is going to lower the amount of subsidizing that the general fund has to do. And we included this in this year's fiscal year budget. So we need this in order to, this resolution from council in order to authorize, do the necessary authorization, provide the necessary authorization. The main thing is that this basically pledges the general taxing authority, because the bonds are designed, the nature of the bonds are designed for the capture district to pay the debt service, which just hasn't been the case. So currently the taxing authority that was pledged by the city with the initial, the currently outstanding bonds, though that's what's being used. And just from a transparency standpoint, we expect that to be the case. So even though the bonds are being issued through TIFA, at the end of the day, they're being subsidized through the general fund and the general tax revenues of the city.
All right, questions or comments? Hearing none, call for the question. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Wiley,
Yes.
Councilmember Washington,
Yes.
Councilmember Chisholm,
Yes.
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
Yes.
and Councilmember Shaw.
Yes.
Mayor, we have 6 yeas.
All right, motion carries. Moving right along. Item D, please.
Consideration and approval of an offer to purchase one vacant residential lot, which is located on the east side of Isabel between Pine Street and Andover, and is legally described as duly noted in the amount of $250 to Derek Gilkey.
Mayor, I'd like to move to accept.
Support.
If we could add to that motion 500 instead of 250.
It's 500 now? Okay.
I would say, you know, we're just looking to make sure we're getting a lot of these coming in where people are looking at lots, and that's a good thing, because then of course we get them back on the tax roll. We have to pay those taxes at the same time. Some of those lots, and we're determining now which are buildable or non-buildable lots. I have the building department actually going through and looking at those lots to see and determine what the square footage is and how people can actually build on those lots and what they can build. So I would like to see us look at raising the price for these from 250 to 500.
Well, Mr. Mayor, can I speak on that?
Please, yeah. I mean, it's your motion. I was just saying if we can add to it.
First of all, I'm proud that Mr. Gilkey decided to get this lot. If you take a look at it, it's a lot of work that's got to be done on that particular lot. Okay, and I was shocked, and I haven't talked with Mr. Gilkey, our Sister Gilkey, about it, but I was glad when they purchased it. Okay, now I know previous a lot more land we have sold for $250 and various things like that. I wouldn't suggest going up to him for $500 on it. If he's willing to go there and clean that lot out and make it beautiful in the community, I don't see we should do that, because he got a lot of work to do on that property.
Yeah, again, it was just an addition to the motion, just because I see a lot.
If it was a clean lot, a beautiful clean lot, I can understand that. I probably would agree with you, but I don't agree with you on this particular lot. I have did my homework on it.
Hey, I'm okay with whatever you guys suggest. I just, again, you know. So at any rate, any discussion, it was moved and supported, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, any discussion outside of what I said? Go ahead.
Mr. Chair, is this applicant out of state? I thought I saw him from California.
Well, his family is here in the city of Inkster. Matter of fact, his mother stay right across the street from the lot. Okay, he's got an apartment. He's back and forward to the city of Inkster, and he raised in Inkster, and for his opportunities, business that he has in California. Yeah, he's got it.
Okay.
He's back and forward.
Okay. That's all I had, Mr. Chair.
All right. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Excuse me, Mayor, are we deciding on the 500 or the 250? I didn't see if
No, I'm sorry. The motion. I'm sorry, ma'am. The motion was for $250. I just asked for it to be raised to 500, but the motion wasn't changed. It's staying $250.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Shaw,
Yes.
Councilmember Washington,
Yes.
Councilmember Chisholm,
Yes.
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
Yes.
and Councilmember Wiley.
Yes.
Mayor, we have 6 yeas.
All right, moving right along. Before we go to the next item, Councilman Chisholm, David said, the Attorney Jones said he's trying to get back in.
Hold on, let me see.
And I know he had wanted to speak to this next item, so I just wanted to make sure that he can get back in. But go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, City Clerk.
Okay, consideration and approval of a resolution to establish the Inkster Risk Management Commission in compliance with the mandate and definition enumerated in the City of Inkster government website.
What's your pleasure?
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Can she repeat that because she kind of froze, so our audience probably couldn't hear. Can she repeat that council request?
Yes, please.
Sure, consideration and approval of a resolution to establish the Inkster Risk Management Commission in compliance with the mandate and definition enumerated in the City of Inkster government website.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So move.
Is there support?
Support.
All right, it's been moved and supported. Discussion, please. Councilwoman Wiley?
Yes, Mayor, if I may.
Go ahead.
This Risk Management Commission, I received an email from David Jones earlier today saying that the charter gives us the power to do departments, not necessarily commissions. So we may have to do an ordinance for the commission, but in the interim, I don't see why we can't call it a department just to get it up and running and going. What this is going to be a 7-member panel, which discusses which assesses the risk that the city involves in various different things, such as contracts, et cetera, and stuff like that. The 7-member panel is comprised of a member from City Council, and I've talked to Stephen Chisholm about that, Human Resources, Ordinance, and I've talked to Sergeant Wall about that, the police, and I've talked to Lieutenant Twarzik about that, zoning, and a couple of community leaders. And the person who will be in charge of this is a actual risk assessment professional, and his name is Kinsisi Mendiza, and I believe he's in the audience now, and if you'd like, he would be able to take you further into exactly what this is entailing, okay? Is that okay?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Mr. Mendiza?
Did we get him in, Stephen?
Mr. Mayor, I'm not sure of his phone number. I don't see his name. So,
Councilwoman Wiley, you got his number?
or at
Yes,
least the
I do.
last 4
Hang
digits.
on 1 second.
Last 4 digits, or he can raise his hand, Steve.
Somebody does
Somebody-
have their raise. I'm not
somebody
sure
had
if
it,
that's
yeah.
him or not. We can try it.
What?
Let's see the last 4 digits of his number. Don't do it yet, Steve, until she gets the last 4 digits. And I believe that's what you got for the last 4 digits, Councilwoman.
Hang on, I'm looking for my phone. I can't find my phone.
That is him. That's 1309. Yep. It was in my
Okay.
email. Yep. Let him in. Did we get David back in too?
Yeah, he got back on.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mendisa. Unmute him for me, Steve.
He might be muted manually on his end. There we go.
Okay, hello. Okay, there it goes. Sorry, getting the buttons down. So yeah, I'm Kafense Mandisa. As Councilwoman Watley said, I'm a risk advisor. That's actually what I do for my clients. I'm their off-site risk manager. So most of my clients don't have a risk manager. They don't have a person on staff to help manage their risk. Make sure that, you know, whether it's contracts or even your COVID team, you know, practice that you're putting in, your COVID task force, and help along with that, because one person for the whole city, which is Ms. Rose, you know, handling the risk and safety for the whole city is a lot for one person. So I'm just here to help the city. As some of you may know, this is a volunteer position for me. So even though it's, you know, what I do, I'm gonna give you the same level of service I give my clients that I actually get commission from. I'm gonna treat you like you're my top client, because this is where I'm from. So you are my top client, even, you know. So I just wanted to let you know that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to be accountable. So anyone can ask me any questions. I come to as many city council members meetings as I can, so even the public can ask questions as well, as far as if that's possible. So I'm just here to be a resource for you all and for Ms. Rose as well.
Yeah, Mr. Mendisa, just per our meeting with Councilwoman Watley and Ms. Rose and our current insurance broker, we did say no matter what that we would have you work with us and volunteer with us here at City Hall under my administration for risk management, correct?
Yep, exactly.
All right.
I just want to make sure the public knew my role and, you know, what exactly I aim to do for the city.
Mm-hmm. And you do currently live here in the city of Inkster, correct?
Yes. Yep.
All right. Okay, if I can have David Jones, I know that he's actually out of town right now, but he stayed on the line just to make sure, as we talked about, Councilman Wiley had talked about the email that he sent out earlier. Let's just hear from him.
Sure. Sure. I tried to reach Member Watley too shortly before the meeting, but I wanted to get more discussion and dialogue back and forth about ultimately what the goal would be with regard to Mr. Adisa and the commission in general. But just initially, I think Councilmember Wiley correctly repeated that I think the charter allows for a council to create a department, meaning, you know, someone that would be a city employee, just like we have planning department, just like we have DPW, you know, the treasurer's office and things like that. With regard to a commission, commissions are typically appointees that are volunteers, sort of like the gentleman indicated he would be. But there would be some other concerns that I would have with regard to the access to contracts, the access to closed session things for volunteers. Those things create liability and could, in the instance of the legal arena, once you bring an outsider into something that's attorney-client privilege, that privilege no longer applies. For example, if we have a volunteer in our closed session meeting that has no business there, that is not a party to the litigation or the topic being discussed, then we can no longer claim privilege on discussions that are had between the city's council and its employees. So it's a lot of things that need to be fleshed out. And I would have concerns about allowing a commission members to have that kind of access, being not city employees. But in general, again, when you're talking about a voluntary commission, that's something else, and their role might need to be tweaked a little more. But if this council is interested in creating a position, that person in that position would be an employee of the city. It could be a risk manager employed by the city like we had years ago. Council has a right to do that if with an affirmative vote, but it would still be subject to, our form of government and the executive be reporting to the executive.
Can I respond? So one of the things in my goal is to help the city however, need be. So I'm not asking for any, I want you to give me information that you're comfortable giving me and that you're able to, from a legal standpoint. A lot of the contracts, like the one where I saw you guys are redoing your IT infrastructure, that was public knowledge, and I can help with that. I saw things in that contract that I think can help the city. So I think there's ways that I can still help the city without being, having access to some of the things that I shouldn't have access to, right? If you bring me in, I'm there. If you say, hey, Kay, this is out of your league, that's fine. I just want to help.
Thank you, Mr. Mendisa. All right, thank you, David. Councilwoman Wiley, did you have any other comments to make?
Yes.
Go ahead.
This risk management situation that he's referring to, there have been, closed session can apply to whatever is pertinent to the risk management situation at the time. But if there needs to be tweaking done, this information was sent the middle of August. And I received Mr. Jones' information today. So I inquired from everyone that got this for their input as far as tweaking is concerned. And his concerns should have been received a lot more, bringing into line that the attorney contract says he needs to get back with us in 12 hours, okay? That very rarely ever happens. But tonight, I think, if he had concerns, they should have been expressed before tonight, and maybe we could have done something to tweak it before we brought it to council's attention. But, it's council's pleasure. I think we need risk management in the city. So that's my comment.
Yeah, it's not that we don't have risk management in the city, so let's be clear on that. Mr. Long, along with Ms. Greenhill, is willing to come to this body and make a presentation at any given time. So it's just implementing the risk management portion of what is there already. So I've been meeting with them over the last 2 months, just trying to really get a hold of risk management, understanding that, we got a lot of things that right now as it relates to risk, for instance, cybersecurity. So, having an understanding on that and making sure that all the department heads are in order and actually utilizing the actual information that's presented. So what I'll do too is make sure the next council meeting that we have a presentation by Mr. Long and his group, just so we're all on the same page as it relates to that we do have risk management. I think that Mr. Mendisa and what you're proposing would just add another layer to it, and the fact that he wants to serve within the community. So I get it. I'm not opposed to it. It's just that we want to make sure that we're doing everything that we're supposed to do within compliance.
Okay, and this department, if council so chose to put a department, this would not be a paid position, correct? As a City of Inkster employee, as Mr. Jones alluded to, it wouldn't be a paid position, correct?
No, not a paid position.
Okay, not a paid
Mendisa is saying, let's just make sure that we're clear, because if we're talking about now going from a commission to a department, and, you know, Mr. Mendiz is not that person or whatever it is, you know, we want to, you know, we're saying, oh, it's a volunteer position, but it's a department that we're doing. So, you know, I think that's where the clarity needs to happen. And that's where the legal team is saying, you know, we want to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to protect the city and not adding the possible layer with a volunteer for risk management that causes exposure.
So, Mr. Chair, so in other words, we do have risk management in HR, risk management with the city, with our city attorneys, risk management in coalition with our insurance firm. Now, I was around, me and Denard, when we had to let our risk management go due to financial difficulties, which we are still having at this time. So, in my opinion, this is actually good that somebody would want to come in and do this, but with all the information that we as council are not privy to, I don't see a person coming in doing work will have access or knowledgeable of stuff that we don't even have. That's not a city employee. So I would be cautious myself to just let some person in to help out with risk management at this time, and we're not getting paid. Now, if that's risk management that, if that's what, not the council, but that's what the mayor wants to do to put on the books, then we have to go back and talk about finances. And once again, at this time, our finances is not allowing us to hire risk management. Secondly, in this council report per our city, per Sandra Watley, I'm going back to my government roles as a legislative body that makes laws. I'm not trying to, and this is a good idea. I'm not knocking you for not bringing this up, but at the same time, we pass laws, and we get monthly statements of what's going on in the city. And I think that in this council request that we have, there's no portfolio of who this person is, what has he done throughout his career. And I think that at this time, not me personally, and that's just me speaking, at this time, I'm going to follow the city attorney's lead on this one. And that's all I have to say, Mr. Mayor.
All right, Mayor Pro Tem, thank you. Anyone else?
I'd just like to know, I mean, for the basic information, qualifications, various things like this. And I commend him if he have that background as at risk and various things like that. I mean, I haven't seen anything for his resume and various things like that. It didn't come across me. I don't know if the rest of the council got it or not, but I do understand our role as policymakers. Okay, and I have to go along with the attorney also, is because when the attorney says when an at-risk person get involved with the city business, okay, it should be an employee or someone represented up under us by a volunteer. A volunteer can't go for so far. Okay, and then you know, and I'm understanding, maybe I don't have it clarified, but an at-risk person deals with just about similar to the attorney and other people, and I'm just wondering, just like the attorney did, a lot of this is privileged information, and is this volunteer going to be allowed to get that type of get that type of information? Okay, I think if you want to talk to that, but I'm kind of confused when you holler about business running the operation at risk, having at-risk people, and then talking about volunteers. That kind of like scary me.
Yeah, well, if I could say that, you know, Darren and Jerome, they like to think of themselves as the risk managers for the city of Inkster, right, Mr. Carrington?
Yeah, that
You can speak to the role just a
we
little
use
bit.
that term loosely. We use that term very, very loosely.
And if you could just speak to the role a little bit of what a risk manager should
And
be.
you use it real loosely.
Yeah. So I've you know, obviously it's a serious topic, and you know, I think there is an understanding that we had a risk manager, a professional person who really looked at trying to mitigate all the risk and exposure that the city had legally and otherwise across the entire organization. That position got eliminated years ago. And it's certainly something that we've identified in recent years, and we've been communicating with our insurance brokers. One of the reasons why we moved from the national firm to a local based firm, so we could be more proactive in trying to address all the risks that the city faced. You know, whether it's discrimination, you know, cases of misconduct, what have you. Any numerous areas across all departments, there's just issues that the city has, and that's something that we're aware of and how we try and manage that, given that we have a limited amount of expertise in-house. So we've tried to look at ways for us to engage that and leverage that externally. Again, the insurance broker or, you know, whoever else can provide us those services. And it's just something that we acknowledge we just need to you know, do a better job and show some increased activity in that area.
All right,
Is
Councilman
Vicky Carrington through?
Chisholm wanted to jump in there first.
Okay,
If you
very good.
Wiley, go ahead, Councilman Chisholm.
All right. So I think what the main intent for this commission and or department, whichever way it goes, was to be created was just more of a checks and balances type of thing for risk management within the city. In different conversations with our attorney, he has alerted us that risk management, I can't think of the term right now, but something needed to be incorporated. We needed to act on it as a body, which we had not. Well, at least collectively. It might have been something that was being worked on administratively. And when just in conversation, like I said, with Councilwoman Wiley about the commission and or department as the charter would have it, it was more so like if you take, for instance, and we could be looking at this in a different aspect, and correct me if I'm wrong, but how you have, if you want to use the DDA, for instance, you had the Downtown Development Authority, which is a body, a commission, and then you actually have the special projects manager who, and other persons, of course, off throughout the community, but you have a special projects manager who potentially attends those meetings, and she could, if you will, present stuff to them, and then that body would vote on it and deliberate and tear it apart and put it back together and recommend it to council for a vote. And the same planning commission, you have a planning department, you had a planning commission, and then you have council who would vote on that stuff. And the concern about having a volunteer reviewing documents of personal and proprietary information was brought up. And the fact of the matter about non-disclosure agreements and things like that. However, council would still have the opportunity to say what they were privy to and what they were not, and how we would want to how we would want to navigate that. So I do understand everybody's concerns and comments and things of that nature. But keep in mind, the information did come out some time ago for everyone to really look at. And the reason a lot of times it comes out in email, and I'm just talking about any information and not a phone call to every single person. I know we all are busy, all have multiple things to do. But keep in mind, we did go virtual, and it's on us to kind of sort of stay on top of our emails and get engaged and not pick and choose which emails that we respond to when the stuff comes out. That way, these particular conversations can be had. So when we get to the meetings, we can just vote and not have overlooked something. Because Mr. And forgive me, I can't recall his name or pronounce it correctly, but the young man that we were speaking of tonight for the risk management position, his information did come to us because he volunteered his services. And when he said he wanted to be on anything where he could be applied, if you will, his talents could be used, I had noted that he had the risk management qualities, and me and Councilwoman Watley talked about it. So that's how that came about, because we were just looking at, well, wow, look at all of these credentials and stuff. So I don't know if everybody had an opportunity or maybe just didn't see the particular email, but it came to everybody. It didn't come just to one or two particular people. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Councilwoman Wiley?
Yes, I was going to say the same thing that Councilman Chisholm said about non-disclosure agreements and things of that nature. But like I said, if this is not something the city thinks is viable, okay, then don't do it. But don't tell me about our insurance carriers who have not done one single thing where risk management is concerned since they've been employed by us. Now we present this and suddenly they're all into risk management. I think it's pretty disingenuous of them. Now this young man has a special set of skills and he's offered them to the city. And I think we would be less than intelligent not to utilize those. Now you don't have to give him the keys to the city, but you at least have to let's see what he can do. You don't know what may come of that. And those concerns that David Jones has, expressed them. This can be tweaked, like he said. This can be turned into what we actually want it to be. Nobody's trying to give him to the keys to the city. We're trying to see if we can't get another layer of protection for the city. That's my point.
Okay, Mr. Chair?
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean,
Councilman Howard.
going on around this.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard.
Risk management includes labor talks that we are not privy to. We're not privy to all information regarding risk management as a council. I've never been, the whole time I've been on council, I've never been in union talks. That's risk management. Anything that goes on in the police department or the fire department, that's risk management. It has never been brought up to council at all, because that's not information that we're privy to. So when you talk about that, if that's what the mayor wants to do, then he goes out for bid to do an RFP so the person can get paid. That's all we saying. I mean, I'm not gonna let some person come in my house and do my finances if I'm not hiring them. So that's what the point, that's what we're trying to say. If you think we need some more, that's the mayor's decision to do. That's not my decision. And if that's what he wants, then he has to go out for bid and get someone in there if we have the finances. That's all we're saying. But when you talk about where risk management hasn't done anything, we don't know what the insurance company was doing. They're going back and forth with our city attorneys. So that's not true on your part, because they have been doing stuff. It's just that we're not privy to that information. So the day-to-day operations within the city, we're not privy to that information. Only thing we're privy to is what comes across our desks for subject for approval, which is, that's what our roles are. Now, I don't know, we get monthly reports, like I said, I don't know what someone is trying to do. But if he's good, then if the mayor wants to hire him, go off a bid and we get all of the documents from everybody. Because remember, we always talked about where's the bids at? Where is the bids? So in this instance, I am gonna go with the attorney's advice. And if the mayor wants to put this out for bid, and him and Darren Karen talk about finances, or we talk about finance, then so be so. That's where we're gonna have to go. But to get someone on a basis of just wanting to help, that's good and fine and dandy, but this is a municipality. This is not a personal business. So we have to go by laws to correct ourselves, to maintain and to protect the city of Inkster. Now, any other business wouldn't let anybody in their finances or whatever is risk management that runs a business. They wouldn't do that. They will hire someone. That way they have the ability to control what's going on and they know they got the right person. So as far as the email is concerned, I don't think I've ever gotten that email. I will go back and look. But even if we did get that email, there's some council members on council wanting in front of us in the council package. So if we did get that email and I didn't receive it, or I didn't look at it, that's on me, but I don't have it in there now. So I know going back when Jerome and whoever else asked for a council request, and if half of the documents is not in there, we always have a fit. So that's all I have to say.
Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Mayor. Oops. Go ahead, George.
Mr. Mayor. Okay, first of all, and I'm glad to see the young man coming forward with his credentials, but the problem I have is this. I think somehow you're talking about putting a
I'm sorry.
something.
That's Mr. Bivens.
Jerome. Yeah, because
He went on mute.
I asked to speak and Stephen took me off mute and then Councilman Williams started talking.
Okay, I'll wait. I'll yield to you.
Okay,
All
go
right.
ahead. Yielding this time to you.
All right, so I understand the conversation about the risk management, but I need you guys to understand, information comes to me through our insurance company, and I do communicate with our insurance carrier, and then I share that with the mayor, HR, finance, and our city attorney. And I understand what David is saying because I am a city employee, and that information is confidential that is shared with me. And you do get privilege to that information when you go into closed session. So I am the point of contact, like the mayor said, jokingly, me and Mr. Carrington have, because we didn't have a risk manager in place, took that upon ourselves to keep that flow going because we have cases and situations that come before us that we need to deal with that come before you guys in closed session. That's why I understand what Mr. Jones is talking about on that end, because if we bring a third party in, then that no longer becomes closed session. And that information is very sensitive that comes to me. And, you know, and I share that with a certain amount of people, right? And Councilwoman Howard is right. You're not privileged to that information until it's disseminated from our attorney, our insurance carrier, and then it's brought to you in closed session with a resolution and a vote to decide what to do. So I understand where the attorneys come from, and I just think we need to understand that from that perspective, that, yeah, I do get confidential information and I share it with confidential people.
All right, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
All right, Councilman Williams, did you have something else?
Yeah, I would just like to know, why was this brought to us anyway? We're policymakers. Why was this brought to us? If in fact the mayor wants to hire, bring this person in as a volunteer, that's his choice. Okay, why is it coming to council? Okay, why are we dealing with this? Okay, and see, first of all, everything, the DPW and various people, that all of them work for the mayor. Okay. Okay, now why was this brought to council instead of the discussion going through the mayor and let the mayor decide if he want to bring this man in as a volunteer? Okay, he has that right. Okay, but when it comes here talking about hiring, getting a vote for council, we're out of our place. We're policymakers. Okay, and I'm just saying, I mean, we can't tell him to put on his staff volunteer, whether they volunteer or paid. Okay, positions he might come to us with, policymakers, he creating positions, various things like that, but for what he hiring and what he's putting on his volunteer staff, you know what I'm saying? Because we've been through this before. This was brought up when he first come aboard, about people he had volunteers in there, you understand? There was all kind of hell raised through council about why this person working in the office, why this person doing that. That's his prerogative, okay? And I don't even see why this even come here tonight for council's approval. Okay, that's the mayor's choice. If he want to bring him on as a volunteer, he has that right. And whatever title he wants to give him, that's his right. But for the proceeds and the salary part of it, if that's dealing with it, then that should come to council. If I'm wrong, straighten me out.
Councilwoman Watley?
Yes. This was all brought about because the gentleman put in for any board and commission. And as Stephen Chisholm stated, the gentleman had quite a few qualifications, but his main endeavor was risk management. Since we have not had risk management since 2012, I thought that would be a better fit for him than zoning or planning or something of that nature, something that he could actually put his education to work in helping us. Now, he doesn't have to have access to anything. He just wants to assess risk where they are. So all of this, like he's coming in covert and gonna take over the city with whatever. And why this is coming to us is because we are the policymakers. We do decide. We do make laws. And if we're not privileged to certain things, we should be, because we are the government. All right. So that aside, this was just to make a fit for Mr. Mandisa. If it's not the council's wishes, then that's fine. Okay. But the whole idea was to give them another layer of protection. Now, if you know where risk management has been employed in the last 8 years, please tell me, or else we weren't privileged to that either.
All right.
Okay, no,
Let's, can we call for the question, or you?
Rudely cut off on that issue. I just like to say this. Okay, first of all, it's not a position that I think at this point should be coming before council. That's what I'm saying. Okay, if the mayor feels like that he's got to hire volunteer paid a risk manager. Okay, I'm going by the words that are being used here tonight. Risk manager. Okay. Now, for as the gentleman that I heard, and I hope you don't take me wrong, but the gentleman said, I'm willing to help in any ramification there is. I'm willing to help the city. Okay. And he tell us what his background is. But for I have to go along with the attorney said, a lot of things can't be shared with volunteers and basic things like that. Even who the volunteer that the mayor might have. Okay. So what I'm saying is, I think what we need to do is he gonna? I think he met with the mayor, and the mayor agreed to utilize him. Okay, I think that's the farthest it should go. There shouldn't have no policy making that the council got to prove this and prove that. That's the only thing I'm saying. I don't think it should have came to the council. I'm thinking.
Any further comments or questions?
Mr. Chair, I think it probably would be good to just go back and critique it to the point where you think that he can be effective to the city. I just, my concern would be, just we trying this to put together commissions and departments, and things fall by the wayside. We had some years ago a water commission, if you can see in our packets, as a commission, and now it's inactive because we had so many people riled up and wanting information concerning the water bills and the water rates and the water meters and what have you. And we end up putting a board together of people to be that layer, and it wasn't really thought out and planned out. And now, if you look back on it, it's inactive. Right. So, there's things that we can do to have some checks and balances there. Risk management is very important and very critical to the city. Back in 2012 and 13, we was actually using Mr. Marsh as a risk manager in his role as the city manager. So there's things that we can do and things that we need to look at, when it comes down to risk management. So I would like to have my colleague to go back and let's tweak it over and have some more discussion, some meaningful discussion concerning this. And that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, I like one more thing before the question is called.
Go ahead.
Maybe we should call MML and find out if this is something that we can do before everything is going on. Because like I said, I'm with the attorneys. I'm not going to put that at risk. When we did have that water department, I don't think the water commission was in per se in the water department looking at all of that other stuff. I don't think that was the case. I just think that they had a commission on what the information that was provided to them. But at the same time, it was totally separate. So I don't know, but I'm gonna go with the attorney's recommendation just to protect the city, because that's what I'm here for. So if we can get this commission going, I would like MML's input before anything happens.
Okay, so all comments, discussion is satisfied. I'm calling for the question.
Call for the question, Mr. Chair.
Roll call, please.
Yes. Councilmember Williams?
Abstain.
Why are you abstaining from this?
I'm not ready to make a decision.
So it's a yes or no?
Yeah, you have to be a yay or nay.
Have to be a yeah or nay.
Yeah, you can't abstain for that reason.
Unless you have a conflict.
Yeah.
Well, nay.
Okay. Councilmember Wiley?
Yes.
Councilmember Shaw?
No.
Councilmember Chisholm?
Yes.
Councilmember Washington?
No.
And Councilmember Howard, Mayor Pro Tem Howard?
No.
Mayor, we have 4 no's and 2 yays.
Motion fails. Moving right along. Item F, please.
Item F is consider approval of an offer to purchase 1 commercial building, which is located on the east side of Inkster Road between Lehigh Ave and Hopkins Ave, as duly noted, or 4437 Inkster Road in the amount of $12,582 to Alice's Creative Childcare.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Discussion?
Yeah. Go ahead, Councilman Shaw.
No, go ahead, Mayor Pro Tem. Go ahead.
Mayor Pro Tem?
On this, it stated that there was a daycare center. And they also stated in the background information that it will also be used to help underprivileged and troubled teens with social programs. Now, my question is, how can they incorporate both of those under the same umbrella? Because you have children and then you have troubled teens within that same building. And my other question that I have is the city in a financial situation right now where we can keep putting tax exempt businesses in our community, where we are putting the burdens on lawsuits within our residents? And I know once before when Boji had built those buildings up there on Michigan Avenue, it was a lot of fuss that we have these beautiful buildings up on Michigan Avenue, but we're not getting any taxation for it. So can someone explain that to me?
Yeah, I think it's just, again, this is a request that has come before the council. I don't know if the actual person that's trying to purchase this is on the line. So if they are, can you raise your hand, please? And as it relates to taxation, I totally agree with you. However, the city actually owns this building now, and we've had it listed for almost 2 years through the RFP process online. We've taken it up, down, and now it's come back again. And these are the people that actually, the only people that actually looked at the property to put something in it. So do you see him, Councilman Chisholm, on the line or no? They raised their hand?
Not yet.
Yeah, but I also totally agree with you, with, being tax exempt.
Okay, my next question.
And the child care, the mix of the kids.
Right. Well, let me ask you, maybe I can ask Darren this question. The daycare center that we have up on Inkster Road, is that tax exempt? Inkster and Cherry Hill, or are they paying taxes? Do you know offhand?
I don't know offhand. I mean, generally, unless they're doing it, unless they're operating for some tax exempt purpose, then the property will be taxed. And so if it's a daycare center, again, unless it's like some kind of charitable use, then it would be taxed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Business for profit.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so is there any way you can find out for me? Because I would like to know one way or the other on that one, if you can. For that particular daycare center, I would like to know. But
Okay,
that's all I have.
I'm going to try and look that up.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Darren.
Councilman Chisholm?
Just a quick question, since she was Mayor Pro Tem Howard was talking about the taxes and being tax exempt. Doesn't that usually come before the city of Inkster to vote on, or at least come to the city of Inkster and then potentially city council to vote on to approve whether or not we allow someone to be tax exempt?
No. So it's really based on state law. The assessor handles that.
Okay.
So they make that determination. They look at that. There's a process by which they make that determination, and it's a pretty strict process. So it not only has, a lot of times people assume because it's owned by a nonprofit, just because it's owned by a nonprofit doesn't make it tax exempt for property tax purposes. The assessor will look at how the property is being used. So, for example, you can have a church which is a tax exempt entity. But if they own the property and they're not using it for a tax exempt property, that property won't be tax exempt.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you. That's all.
Question, Mr. Mayor.
Please.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm kind of confused with the proposal, although they're saying that they're buying this for Ellison Daycare. I was trying to find out here, actually, were they going to put a daycare in there, or actually they're going to put a teen help center in there? Okay.
Well, when it was brought to my attention, it was the daycare that they were putting in. But looking at the write-up, overall, it was a outreach center as well. It's talking about mixing underprivileged and troubled teens.
Well, why don't, Mr. Mayor, we need a clarification, because first of all, I'm not going to sit here and vote for a daycare center to open up with dealing with troubling teens, various that. We need some clarification, and I don't feel, basically, even though I know that I run a nonprofit organization in here, and I know I'm giving back to the community, I feel that, that if we're going to tax exempt, we got a lot of tax exempt property already in Inkster. We're not even.
This is not going to be tax exempt.
Huh?
This is not going to be tax exempt. This is a daycare that'll be operating as a business making money for profit. So it's not going to be tax exempt.
You sure?
But in the background, it's a nonprofit / tax exempt organization.
They're saying that they are an organization, but just like Darren clarified, a church is a nonprofit tax exempt organization. But if they're running a nonprofit business at a building that they own, they have to pay taxes. They're subjugated to taxes.
So it reads like they put in both. And
yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, we could, it
depends on what the it doesn't look like. I mean, it's the name of it is a daycare, but where did you see the writing that they're going to put a daycare in there?
Child care.
There's going to be child care along with the troubling teens. I think that's the name of their business.
Yeah, that's the name of their business, but it's Alice Child Care Creative and Outreach Center. And I do know the young ladies. As a matter of fact, one of the young ladies actually works for the clerk's office. What's her last name? Nisi's last name? Felicia. Do you know right offhand?
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, who?
Denise.
Denise?
Nisi,
Is it Williams? I think it's Williams.
I believe so too.
So
But I know
why we just can't have her to come and explain to us what's going on, what she's planning on doing, and making sure that she's not combining a teenage health clinic along with a daycare. I mean,
okay.
I just can't support that.
You want to take
you just move the table until she can come and give us a background of what she's doing.
Okay. Councilman Chisholm, did you have something?
Yes, I was just going to say in the packet on page 105 is the business description, the vision, the target audience, the goal, the zoning, and the employment opportunities. Just for quick reference, because I know that question got brought up as to where did it say child care and outreach center. It's in the first line under business description on page 105 of the packet.
Okay, so she planning on putting both in there.
Yeah, I read all of that too.
Yeah,
I have one more question, Mr. Mayor. I'm sorry, Councilman Williams, were you done?
No, go ahead, Sister.
I just have one more question. I think we should table this because I need to reach out to the state to see if these two programs can't even be ran together in one building. We need to find.
I don't think, and just from what I'm hearing from the body, I don't think that that's something that we would want to see ran together. I know I would get both ran together, so.
Right.
And it wouldn't hurt us to table it till such time we get some explanation from the person that's trying to buy it. I think we should get some explanation from them.
Okay, the maker of the motion, would you be willing to table the motion?
Mayor?
I'm sorry, Councilwoman Wiley. I apologize.
Yeah, before you go, I just have one quick question that maybe they can answer for when we discuss it again. This used to be, or it was going into be a industrial or a restaurant. And they had a lot of industrial equipment that they left in there. Is that part of the asking price, or are we going to take that out and try and sell it somewhere else? Or does anyone know?
Can you repeat the question one more time for me? I apologize.
Okay, there was a lot of restaurant equipment in there because they were going to open a restaurant, the last people who bought it. So I was wondering if that's part of the asking price, or we're going to take that and try and sell it somewhere else, because this was like industrial ovens and things of that nature.
I believe it was part of the asking price as is. So anything that's in there will come with the building.
Okay.
Unless somebody is saying something different.
I think we need to see what's in there. I mean, I'm tabled and see what we got in there.
And then who's going to be responsible for selling it and all that other stuff? I mean, what are we talking about here?
Well, it's not the point of who's going to sell it, Mr. Mayor. The point is, suppose you got industrial restaurant equipment in there worth $12,000. Okay, then we're going to sell the building to them for $12,000 with all that equipment in there. You know, like I said, Ms. Wiley said they got all this equipment in there. We should at least see what we got.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, it ain't gonna hurt. I mean, they got to get in there and get it ready for the next day. It could at least go back on the agenda, and someone can come in and address us, give us opportunity to see what we got. That's all.
I totally agree. All right, Councilwoman Wiley, were you done? I apologize.
I could not hear what Councilman Williams said. I cannot hear his mic at all. So could you just reiterate what he just said that you agreed with?
Oh, it just as it relates to the equipment inside of the building, going in and seeing exactly what the equipment is, assessing it, seeing what type of value it has, and then go from there if we want to, you know, like you suggested, if we want to sell it separately or however, or add the value to the building itself. I believe we probably could do that to the purchase price.
All right.
Okay. All right, then the maker of the motion, would you be inclined to make a motion to table this and then move forward?
Councilman Shaw was the maker of the motion.
I mean, what are we trying to do? I mean, you're talking about tabling it to find out what more information about it. I mean, it's in the packet there. I mean, if the woman, if the applicant buys the building for the 12,000, she can change the use of what she's going to do with the building. Am I correct?
No, I think we need to have.
Yeah, I mean, it would be her building. Then, of course, she can change the
Right.
use.
We need to have
Yeah.
conversations before we tell her to.
So she might just be listing this as, you know, what her potentials may be, but you know, I'm thinking of her getting this building. Once she get this building, I mean, that's what we want. We want to try to get this off the city. I mean, it's a city-owned property. We want to get this off the city. It's 12,000. I mean, it's $12,000. I mean, we definitely don't want her to walk away. I mean, I would entertain her coming, but we definitely don't want her to walk away because we want to find out what she's going to do with the building. I mean, she's going to have to go through some processes anyway before she do anything with the building. But she just going to, you know, want to purchase the building.
That's true.
But I don't believe she's going to walk away from it, Councilman Shaw. And I feel that number one, we need to make sure. Number one, what we need to do, and I'm going to tell you that. We have a lot of nonprofit organizations in the community, and we can look around and see how many nonprofit organizations we got actually servicing our children and people in our community. Okay, so what I'm saying is, you know, explain that to. Okay, she's got two things on there. She's saying daycare plus troubling teens. Okay, you know, I have serious conversation about that. Okay, and then the building that she's talking about. Okay, it has not been sold for anything, but it's a good building. Okay, and I was just anxious to see exactly what Sister Watley is talking about. All the equipment that's in there. Okay, so it wouldn't hurt to hold it off, table it until we have a conversation with her. Okay, that's what I'm saying. We ain't never got to be in a hurry to do anything.
And your point is well taken.
So let me just say this, just for clarification. Again, she's running the main thing in the write-up is that she's running a daycare facility. It's going to be, you know, it's not a nonprofit, so they will be having an element in the building that's going to be for profit as it relates to the business. And then the other key part to that is that it will have to come through planning, regardless on whatever it is. It's going to have to go through the planning department and then wherever else it needs to go from there. We definitely want to encourage business. This has been on the books for 2 years, and I just put it back on the books. I mean, on the actual, on our books for 2 years, and then the RFP went out and no one bid on it. And then now this young lady's come around and she's been anxious to get into this facility. So I'm with Councilman Shaw. I want to encourage business and then get this off the books, get 12,000 in our coffers, plus get some taxes coming in from off of that building. But it's your pleasure. So I'm calling for the question either way.
Okay, if you're done, I mean, I would like to say something before the question is called and we answer. Maybe we can change the wording on here that it will not be a non-taxable item, because in the background, it says it is a non-profit tax exempt. We need to change that wording, because if we approve this tonight as is, we accepting this as a tax exempt item.
Right.
I mean, you want to reword it, whereas it can only be a daycare center, but I don't know if the council can say yay or nay to that.
That's what she purchased.
But to have two entities, young and older, in the same facility, that's going to have to probably come from the state of Michigan. I'm not sure, but if we approve this tonight on the child care with the exceptions of the teens and social programs, but it still have to come through the planning commission, but we would have to approve this tonight with this being a tax item and not a nonprofit tax exempt organization. So we would have to reword our council, our action for request. If that's what the council wants to do.
And that'll be again up to the maker of the motion, Councilman Shaw.
I'm not even understanding what she even is. I mean, I'm not understanding what she's saying, that it's a nonprofit organization that's on the request item. I mean,
What I was saying is that it's tax exempt organization. And what the council who have said their comments is that we don't want to have, and the mayor has said that too, that it will be taxable. This will be a taxable item, but on this council request, it's not saying that under background information.
Yeah, they're saying that they're a nonprofit tax exempt organization. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. I get it too. I get it right now. Yeah.
Okay, that's all I was saying.
Okay, yeah, we can change that. I can change that.
All right. So what are we changing on the question?
That it'll be a tax organization. Am I right?
The building will be taxed.
The building will be taxable.
Taxable.
Mr. Carrington, help us. Are we saying that right? I mean, just to make sure we're in the right direction.
Yeah,
I mean, what do we?
I mean, I don't know to what extent it's binding. I mean, we're getting kind of into, like some things that are probably
irrelevant.
A gray area. I mean, I guess the easiest way to try and find out is ask them what the, I don't know if we can sell a building and say, hey, you can't ever operate this in an allowable fashion as a tax exempt property.
That's what I'm thinking.
I don't know. I'm not saying we can't. I just don't know if we can put that restriction on it. I understand what council's intent is. One, I don't even know if I did look up what I think is the main daycare. They are paying property tax on that. If I'm looking at the right property, I can speak with the assessor to try and get a little bit more direction. But generally speaking, they have to be operating it. And I'm repeating myself here. It's getting late. I haven't had my dinner. But it's you have to operate it as it's not just being owned by a nonprofit. It has to be operated for charitable purposes. And looking at the packet, I see where they're charging. I don't know all the tax laws and everything, but that I don't think would fully qualify them to make the property tax exempt based on what I've seen. Right. That's my unofficial opinion.
Mr. Mayor, may I? When Darren is,
I'm done.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Darren, to cut in. I just wanted to make sure to chime in quickly. To answer your question, no, you can't transfer or sell a property based on the purpose, the individual or the entity's intended use. Again, if they qualify once they own the property to be tax exempt, that's their issue. But we cannot sell it contingent upon their use. You just can't do that.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So the question is being called for. Let's roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard.
No.
Councilmember Washington.
I'm sorry.
Councilmember Washington.
I'm sorry. No.
Councilmember Chisholm.
Yes.
Councilmember Williams.
No.
Councilmember Shaw.
Yes.
And Councilmember Wiley.
Yeah.
Mayor, we have 3 yays and 3 nays.
Jesus Christ. Yes.
Mayor Wimberly is a yay. Now we have 4 yays and 3 nays.
Motion carries. And we definitely will be working closely with the applicant. We'll have the applicant before the council next meeting, just so we're all feeling good about it. We'll go over, take a visit and all that other stuff before we transfer the property and all that stuff. It still has a long ways to go, so we'll definitely be working through it. All right, this brings us to the part where we have public participation.
No, Mayor, we have items,
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, please. What do we need to do with those? I'm sorry, I apologize.
No problem. You need a motion to vote. Item G is to vote in accordance with the motion that was taken in closed session. Bevins?
So move.
Support? Is there support?
Yes. Yeah, Councilman Chisholm supported.
Okay.
Support.
Do we need to go back through the roll call?
Yes, yes. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the support, Mayor.
I didn't support.
Okay, who supported?
Support.
Which one is that? You had a couple of things in
This is
for Bevins.
the first one we did, Bevins. We already voted. We're just coming out to the general public.
Right.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, so did I make the motion? Am I the maker of the motion?
Yes.
Okay, somebody has to support it then. Okay.
Support.
Okay, Councilman Shaw. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear. Mayor, and yes, we need a roll call vote. Would you like me to call that?
Yeah, please.
Councilmember Chisholm?
No.
Councilmember Watley?
No.
Councilmember Washington?
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard?
Yes.
Councilmember Williams?
No.
And Councilmember Shaw?
Yes.
Mayor, we have 4 nays and 2 yays.
In closed session, you had 3 and 3.
Right. That's what I was getting ready to say.
So I think Washington, you realize what we vote on, Washington?
Is this out of from close?
Bevins.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, hold on one second, Mayor. I'm sorry. So, Mayor, we have, right. So now we have the 3 yays and the 3 nays.
Yes.
Okay, and so Mayor Wonderly is a yay. Okay. The next item is item H, which is the motion to vote in accordance with the vote that was taken in closed session. And I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Crowder.
Yes. That's correct.
So move.
Who did support it? Any support?
Support.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Shaw?
Yes.
Councilmember Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard?
Yes.
Councilmember Washington?
Yes.
Councilmember Watley?
You know, I don't even remember how I voted back then.
Oh, Lord.
Yes.
This is weird.
Yes.
You voted yes.
So long.
You voted yes.
It's so long. What?
You did.
What did I say?
Well,
What I said then, I say now.
okay. Well, you voted yay. Can you say that, please, for the record?
Say what for the record?
Can you say yay for the record, please?
Yay, yay.
And Councilmember Chisholm?
Yeah.
Thank you. We have 6 yays, Mayor.
All right, motion carries. Next time when we do closed session early, we vote right after we come out. We don't adjust the agenda.
Okay.
First
Because
item.
when it's 11 o'clock,
Yeah.
you can't remember.
Jesus,
Yeah, it's getting late.
no doubt. All right, you have one more item, no or no?
No, that was it, sir.
All right, perfect. Councilman Chisholm, you have the public participation piece, and Mayor Pro Tem, I had to take a quick break. You had the gavel.
All right. So we are at public participation. 1 minute.
Yep, those wishing to speak during public participation, press *9 from your handset to raise your hand and be recognized. Those who are on, I guess, by video, you can access those options by clicking the raise hand feature. Right now, Mayor Pro, do have 3 people that have their hand raised, so I will unmute the first person. The caller, please state your name for the record when you are unmuted.
Hi, good evening, Mayor Council. This is Octavia Smith, Inkster resident, just bringing you greetings from Western Wayne Family Health Center, the City of Inkster Chamber of Commerce, the Inkster Task Force. Wanted you to keep in mind that the Inkster Chamber of Commerce have our calendar out. We're looking for you guys to support us by purchasing a business ad. I'm trying to talk fast. And the other thing is about the guy, Kafensi, I think his name was, all of the other boards and commissions on the City of Inkster are volunteer positions. I don't understand why he can't be also a volunteer because, I mean, DDA, TIFA, water board, and all those things are volunteer for positions. I was on the water board commission some years ago, multiple years ago, and they gave me too much information about those residents and I resigned. So I know that they gave a lot of information and I was just a resident. So I just wanted to share that information. You guys, let's get it together and hey, let's build this city up because it's available to us. Let's build this city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Unmuting the next caller now. Please state your name for the record when you're unmuted. And callers also, if you have manually muted yourself, you might have, if it takes a while, you may have to unmute yourself from your end, but they're unmuted.
Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, this is Charles Blackwell. I was calling to inform you that you violated the Open Meetings Act again by going into closed session and having a vote, because all votes are supposed to be into open session. And Councilmember Watley said she forgot how she voted. So there's a dispute as to the actual roll call votes because she couldn't remember her vote. So you'll be hearing from me very soon about that violation. Thank you.
And the next one you have?
Yep. And also, Mayor Pro Tem, I don't believe the gentleman stated his name for the record.
Yes, he did. The caller or the previous caller?
Yeah, did he?
Yes, it was Mr. Blackwell.
Okay. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Because everything is kind of cutting out on this side. I am requesting to unmute this particular caller. The last digits is 1922. They may be manually muted on their end, and they may need to unmute themselves on their phone as well.
Hello, caller. Is anyone there?
It hasn't went through yet. It's still saying they're muted.
There you
Okay.
go. Okay.
Yes, this is Ruth Williams. I'd like to address this message to Stephen. Stephen, so when are you having the next planning meeting?
The next planning commission meeting, the notice was sent out today. It is going to be on September the 14th, which is a Monday at 6:30 p.m. It is a virtual remote electronic access. Well, at least the agenda went out. I will have to get with, I guess the clerk could answer about as far as the notice, but that is when the next meeting is, 6:30 p.m., September 14th, 2020, virtually.
Yes, I'd like to know because I've been trying to get on the agenda for like 2 months and I haven't heard, even I was told Adriana's gone now. So I'd like to get on that agenda so I can address some business.
Okay, I know the agenda has been created. if you can you send me, I guess, an email and CC the city planner, or CC the city planner and send me an email just so we can get that resolved to see what needs to be done?
So the planner now is Caitlin?
That's correct.
All right, I'll do that. I'll do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, no problem. Thank you. And Mayor Pro Tem, I don't see any other, I'm hitting the wrong buttons, callers in the waiting room who have their hands up. So I believe that's it for public participation.
All right, then we're gonna close our public participation. City Clerk?
No comments tonight, Mayor Pro Tem Howard.
All right, thank you. City Treasurer?
No comments.
Okay, now we're coming into Mayor and Council communication. Okay, who'd like to be first? Mr. Councilman Shaw?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem, Madam Chair, I just want to, in the northeast section, just more police patrol, more police presence in the northeast section on Oakwood, Parkwood, Hazelwood, Rosewood, Harrison Street, and Glenwood. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you. Councilman Williams?
Yeah, I just want to bring up some concerns. Number one, I know the mayor indicated that he's got 3 or 4 code officers working in the areas, okay? But yet we've been having a lot of issues that I feel that either people ignore the law or that our code officers are not enforcing the law. Okay, so I would like to request from the mayor's office, if he's still online, a report, okay, of what our code officers are doing. I don't know, we hired, what, 2 more, 2.5 more than what we have, okay? And as we go around the community, we see people, you understand, that doing work and they don't pull a permit. So I'd like to see what kind of action our code officers are doing in the area. So if I can get that report done, I mean, we get some report from the police department and various things like that. I think it's good that we get a report from the code officers and what they're doing in the area to make a difference, because we got a lot of violations going on, especially in my district, that I am very displeased with.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna, I take that into consideration. I will update the mayor with that. But when we have our monthly reports, it should be, now it used to be all the departments were in this monthly report, so.
It's in the police report. It's in the police report.
Okay, okay.
Did y'all say the code officer's report is in the police department's report for this month?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Yeah, it's in the police. Yeah, it's in the police report.
Okay.
Okay, are you done?
Yes, I am. I'm done.
Okay, okay. Councilmember Washington?
Yes, I would like to bring up issue of a tree removal on Clare Street. There's a tree, old tree hanging in like pretty much going into the street, into a neighbor's yard. So I would like to bring that up. And also as well what Councilman Shaw stated, speeding on Park Lane. And I'm just requesting more presence of police over there and asking what we're doing about speeding. Are we looking into the speed bumps? So I guess you can direct that to the mayor. And also I am having a mental health webinar, Zoom meetings. I'm having 2 series with Western Wayne Health Center and Beaumont Health, and also Chief Riley, just to talk about mental health during COVID. So when I get those dates, I will share that with you.
All right. Thank you. Okay, Councilmember Chisholm?
Yes. First off, I had spoke with former councilperson Ronald Johnson, and he was just addressing some concerns from 2 different council meetings that he had reviewed. We had a great in-depth conversation, and I'm just gonna be sending you all a summary. That way you'll just be abreast of what we all talked about, and he may be reaching out to you all directly as well. Also, I had residents, of course, every time it rains, unfortunately, we do have some spots in the city that flood heavily. And a couple of my constituents, if you will, had posted pictures and comments, starting conversations on Facebook, and they're really requesting some assistance over in that area, which is the area of Amherst and Mount Vernon. I did look through a couple of things, and different people are offering suggestions about cleaning the drains and all that stuff too, which has been an ongoing thing that they have done. I know there's some issues over there, but if we could just I guess reach out to some residents over there. If Mr. Bivens or whoever wants to contact me directly, I could just provide them with a person's phone number just to either let them know what's coming down the pipeline in the future to resolve it, or what needs to be done, because it floods all the time. But I know, and they know as well too, those citizens, that we do have some infrastructure issues. We are in some dire straits when it comes to finances and stuff like that, but we need some type of resolution, because they really can't get out of their driveway and the garbage cans are floating every time it rains. Also, with the speed bumps, I had another constituent who's been very vocal. She got on the council meeting, I guess about 2 meetings ago on, I'm trying to think, Shadowline Street, I'm sorry. And she just mentioned speeding and the mini bikes and things of that nature. I did send her information to the mayor's office, and I believe ordinance or whatnot. I know different officers and ordinance have been working with her. She made reference that she turned in some paperwork to request a speed bump. I wasn't sure that council had even gotten to that point, or a speed cushion, I should say, gotten to that point of voting and developing a policy on how we were going to be, if you will, accepting requests and or installing those, and where the funding would actually come from for that, and all of that stuff. So I just wanted to put that out there. And I'm just looking at my list of stuff. I believe that's it. So thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
You're welcome. Councilwoman Watley?
Yes, ma'am. I've been asked to read this to the citizens of Inkster, and it states that the Sweet Bee lawsuit against the city of Inkster and former officials has been dismissed. The city of Inkster has prevailed in a lawsuit brought against it by Sweet Bee Incorporated. The dismissal ruling was issued on August 18th by Judge Dana Hathaway in the Wayne County Circuit Court. Sweet Bee filed a lawsuit in 2018 against the city of Inkster, former Mayor Byron Nolan and Charles Nolan, alleging impropriety when their medical marijuana license wasn't renewed. Inkster City Council will address this later on, but this victory for the city of Inkster and for those who were wrongfully accused, said Byron Nolan, former mayor, from the beginning, we asserted that we had acted properly and within the city of Inkster's ordinance to not grant the renewal of the license. It is unfortunate that it has cost over $100,000 in taxpayer money with this lawsuit. This lawsuit caused division within the city and a storm of misinformation during the year's municipal elections. Unfortunately, the loss of the $100,000 in taxpayer money will have a direct impact on Inkster's finances. I knew the allegation made in the lawsuit was for political gain. The city of Inkster denied Sweet Bee Incorporated their renewal of their medical marijuana dispensary license because one of its partners had a misdemeanor on its record. This denial was in accordance with the Inkster's Ordinance 858. Members of Sweet Bee Incorporated have yet to issue a public apology to the Inkster residents, city council, nor the former officials targeted in this lawsuit. And that's it. That's all I have.
All right, I have no comments at this
Oh,
time.
wait a
what-
minute. I do have one more thing, excuse me. I wanted to know if the attorney of record had anything to say with regards to this. Is David Jones on?
I am. With regard to the lawsuit that was dismissed, Member Howard,
Yeah.
the only thing I would add is that it was a dismissal. I'm not, you kind of went, my audio went out at some of the, in and out of some of the beginning of this statement, but I'm not certain if you refer to the $100,000 in city taxpayers, or are you indicating it's legal fees? I'm not certain that.
I'm sorry, you're not certain what?
That's what the litigation cost. But the fees, I'm not certain what the amount in legal fees were exactly.
Okay. All right, but since this is your victory as much as the city's, I thought you might want to say something.
It is, and the case is dismissed without any liability on the city's behalf.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Okay, I have no comments, so I'm going to call for adjournment.
So move. Or motion to adjourn, I'm sorry.
Any support?
They want to say
Hello? Any support for adjournment?
Yeah, support.
All right.
Motion
All right, well,
to
good
adjourn.
night. All right, call for it. It was, and everybody was in accordance, so a good night and see you in 2 weeks.